Building a business may feel like a big jump, but OnDeck Small Business Loans can help keep you afloat. With lines of credit up to $100,000 and term loans up to $250,000, OnDeck lets you choose the loan that's right for your business. As a top-rated online small business lender, OnDeck's team of loan advisors can help you find the right business loan to fit your needs. Visit OnDeck.com for more information. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank. OnDeck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
I found tapes in the house, audio, video, of a woman.
The Screambox original series, The Trouble with Tessa, is available now. Watch it today, only on Screambox.
You have to control yourself!
And welcome back to Horror Queers. We're here for the orgy. We're talking, it's what's in it that counts. And we're talking, well, life goes on after all, and eating makes me feel best when I feel bad. And boy, do I feel bad. Takes a bite. I feel better already. Really, I do. And I'm Joe.
And I'm Trace, and that was the longest thing I've ever heard you say. And we're talking boobs, 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 boobs.
Oh my
boobs,
God,
boobs.
Trace, it's like we took a week off, and now, no, not even a week, because we were talking about Fascination last week, so it's just boobs all the time.
I know, Joe. Like it has been just boob city on this podcast lately, and I'm not going to lie, I'm not mad about it.
No, not at all. And I will say I'm especially in favor of it when we have female creatives working behind the camera this time.
Yes, but we have been noticeably female absent on our podcast for a bit, so I actually want to go ahead and jump in and introduce our guest for the evening.
Yes.
All right, everyone. She is an award-winning writer who's been covering the queer community for over a decade at publications like The Mary Sue, The Portalist, and Screener TV. She is the managing editor of News Is Out, a pioneering national collaborative of the leading local queer news publishers. Please welcome Dana Piccoli.
Hi.
Hello.
And welcome to the Slumber Party Massacre.
Yes. Don't forget that.
Well, how else would we distinguish it from the remake?
Oh yeah, was there? I mean, there's a sequel.
There are two sequels, and there was a remake in 2022 for the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah, and this is our opportunity to remind folks that we have actually covered that remake on the Patreon, and it is well worth your time.
Very much so. It's very funny, and I'm just gonna say it, sometimes where this one, the supposed feminist themes, I think, are sometimes lost in this film for reasons we'll discuss.
Right.
They are not lost in that remake.
No.
Well, I want to thank you both personally for inviting me onto this episode to talk about this very, very terrible movie.
Oh, no.
Go on, elaborate.
Shockingly, as much of a horror buff as I am, I had never seen this.
Oh.
So that's always fun for me when I get to do something new and talk about it pop culturally. And listen, I walked into this thinking, all right, we've got a woman director, we've got Rita Mae Brown. I was shocked at just how dreadful this movie really is.
That's actually very surprising to hear, but only because when we were teasing this episode last week, both whether we were doing it in the recording or offline, Joe, but both of us were kind of like, yeah, it's fine, I guess. It's never been one of my favorites, but this film has such a monstrously large fan base for being, as you said, kind of terrible. And I have seen this movie several times, and I do like it a little bit more. I feel like I click into it a little bit more each time I watch it, but it's still at most a 3-star film for me. On a 5-star scale.
Well, that's generous.
I will say, Dana, I felt the exact same way as you the first time I saw it. I just thought, oh, this is kind of incomprehensible. There's bunches of different, there's too many characters. There's whole sections of the plot that doesn't really seem to make sense. The pacing is off. But then when I started to look into the production and realize, oh, this is a movie that has been fucked with, I did start to realize, okay, it's never going to be a perfect film, but I do give it a little bit more grace as a result. And like Trace, I have found it it improves on rewatches because you know what to expect. So you're not just like, wait, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think it's a thing, though, where a lot of times when I see this movie mentioned or written about, it really is like, oh my God, the feminist themes of this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah? I don't know. Dana, did you pick up on any feminist themes in this film?
I did not.
Oh my God.
Okay, so I can see where it had probably been, well, like, let's say someone took a pneumatic drill to the script and tried to make it more sensational, perhaps. So I can see where it's trying. And there are some feminist themes in this, but it gets so muddy.
Yeah.
It's just a mess.
I do think, too, and, you know, I'll go through this in the production, but I think it's important, too, to also think about where this falls in the kind of, like, slasher heyday of the 80s. You know, this is 1982, and we're really, like, in the middle of the big slasher boom. And there are, I mean, you know, we all know our Halloweens, we all know our Friday the 13th, but there were, like, hundreds of these movies released in, like, a 3 to 4 year period, and many of them are way worse than this, even.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But, okay, well, let me just jump into this then, because I knew kind of some of this, but I didn't really know the whole thing, because, again, I'm not this movie's biggest super fan. So I'm actually pulling a lot of my research from the Blu-ray that Scream Factory put out back in 2014, which is basically just a 20-minute making-of documentary, and then also the commentary with director Amy Holden Jones, Michael Villela, who plays the driller killer, and actress Deborah Del Liso, who plays Kim, the blonde one in the movie.
She's the sporty one.
She's my favorite.
I liked her.
She's the best.
But gotta say, though, this making of featurette starts with a home movie from Christmas Day 1996 and shows I had to look this up, a 10-year-old boy freaking out about opening up a gift and getting a VHS copy of the Slumber Party Massacre. And I'm talking, like, going nuts.
Yeah, it's full little gay boy fantasy,
I was going to say, that was it a gay child?
So, again, this is my social media digging of the day. So, yes, this guy is named Tony Allen Brown, who ran a blog called Hockstatter.com, which was essentially a fan site for the Slumber Party Massacre and Sorority House Massacre franchises. But
wild. Okay.
I couldn't tell exactly if he was gay, but I can tell you on Instagram, all of our mutuals are gay. So I'm going to take a wild leap and assumption and say, yes, he is gay.
There we go.
I'm also just thinking a 10-year-old boy watching this movie. But okay.
I mean, it could be, boobs.
Yeah, but whatever. Okay. Anyway, well, so this movie, yes, directed by Amy Holden Jones in her feature directorial debut. And she's kind of a fascinating woman, if only because of the lead up into her career to make this her feature directorial debut. So she went to Wesleyan MIT and studied photography there. And she got involved with the film department, which was run by cinema verite pioneer Richard Leacock and primarily focused on documentaries. So while she was there, she started making documentaries, and one of them won first place at the AFI Student Film Festival, which I guess at the time was like considered one of the biggest, or the biggest student film festival in the country.
I mean, AFI,
that's still a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, one of the judges that gave her this award was Martin Scorsese. And this would have been the early 70s, by the way. Or mid-70s, actually.
Okay, so that's a pretty big deal as well.
Well, so he gave her a job on Taxi Driver as his assistant. And she was there for the shoot in New York and then came back to a shoot on the Warner Brothers lot in LA. And it was here when Scorsese got a call from one Roger Corman. And the connection here, Scorsese had directed the Corman-produced 1972 crime drama film Boxcar Bertha, which starred Barbara Hershey and David Carradine.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah, they were like buddy-buddy. But Corman called Scorsese looking for an editor, so he sent Jones over editing Joe Dante's feature directorial debut, the 1976 exploitation film Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh my God, I love how I was about to go, Piranha!
Nope.
Like a fucking idiot.
Definitely not his first film. But this is how Jones became one of the go-to editors in the Roger Corman factory. But the thing is, she really wanted to direct instead. She did not want to be editing films. And
sure.
As a woman in the industry, she wasn't getting a lot of opportunities. So one day, she started going through Corman's pile of shelf scripts, meaning scripts that were so bad that Corman himself wasn't even going to make them. And he comes across one titled Don't Open the Door, written by noted queer feminist Rita Mae Brown, who, if you don't know who that is, her autobiographical novel Ruby Fruit Jungle had taken the world by storm in 1973, and Ruby Fruit Jungle, by the way, a euphemism for female genitals.
Right.
Yeah. But also a copy of this book can be seen on Trisha's nightstand in the film.
Oh, there's a queer reading.
Yeah. So, okay. She read the first few pages of the script and noted that it included the trifecta of a suspense scene, a dialogue scene, and an action scene. So, she thought if she just filmed those first 3 bits in the film, she'd have a proof of concept for Corman to be like, look, I can be a director now too, give me a film to direct.
It's pretty smart.
Mm-hmm. She borrowed Joe Dante's camera, and he gave her some temp tracks of his own from The Howling. So that means this would have been happening around 1981, which means she was already editing for Corman for like 4 to 5 years by this point.
Oh man, I bet you she was chomping at the bit to direct.
And with $1,000 of her own money, she shot the thing over a weekend. And when she showed it to Corman, the main thing he was impressed by was not necessarily the quality of the film, but that she made it for just $1,000.
My God, classic Corman. Oh, you made something that people might watch, but you did it for super fucking cheap? I love you.
To the point where he told her, oh, you've got a future in this business. So it was at this point that Jones assumed he would hand her a product to direct. But unfortunately for her, he actually wanted her to finish filming Don't Open the Door, which she apparently had no interest in doing, also because she didn't read the rest of the script before she made the proof of concept. She only read that beginning, said, this is it, it's good, I'm going to direct this part, but didn't finish the script.
Right. Okay, shit.
Now, when she did read the script in full, she thought it was, and I quote, pretty bad and not funny at all. And this is despite the fact that Rita Mae Brown wrote the script as a parody of the slasher subgenre, specifically the Friday the 13th films.
Yeah, and I think that is the best way to view this movie. Like, every time I have reevaluated the film or revisited it, I've always looked at it as, okay, this is intended to be a parody of slasher films. And then Corman interferes.
So, Dana, I'm interested to know if you think this too, because I feel like for so many times with this film, and on my first several viewings of this film, I see the jokes, but I think the jokes are easily misconstrued for just bad filmmaking, and I think that's a problem.
Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, this was supposed to be a funnier version of the original script, because it's not I mean, perhaps the pizza situation is a little funny, but overall, I can't think of a joke that landed. And that could be an inexperienced cast. Well, that could be an inexperienced director who doesn't know how to help actors land timing. It could just be it wasn't funny. There's a lot of things that go there, but I knew this going in as well, that it had been based off of a parody, and I was expecting to see more humor.
Like broader humor, even.
Yes.
And during the commentary didn't have a ton of useful nuggets of information, but Jones is a little defensive, and she's like, how do people not tell this is a comedy? And so like when we get to the scene, and early on, when the phone girl gets just like kind of yanked into the van, she says, well, look at that, that's really funny. How can you not think it's a comedy when you just see her get yanked into the van like a Looney Tunes character?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good example of what you're talking about, Dana, where you can maybe see some of the comedy, but it's also not reading quite like a joke, because it's also very similar to things that we do see in actual slashers with no funny at all.
But I'll go back to the timing thing. And as a former actor, timing, especially in comedy, is so crucial. And I just think it misses the mark on timing.
Yeah.
Rita Mae Brown hasn't done a ton of interviews about this movie, but from what I could gather, she was not pleased with the final cut of this film, with her saying that, Jones's script, like, she removed all the jokes from my screenplay, but Jones retorting, like, her script wasn't funny, I made it funny.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh man.
But anyway, so she decided, though, because she didn't like the script, she was going to rewrite most of it. So that's why, even though Rita Mae Brown has the final screenwriting credit on this film, I do think the bulk of it is Jones's screenwriting. And she did it after going back and she watched the first 2 Friday the 13th films, which she hadn't seen before, and realized, again, that the screenplay was ripping off those films. So she credits Brown with basically the driller killer concept and the central metaphor of the film, which she says, I didn't realize this when I read it, but I got it later. The metaphor of the film is a virgin's fear of sex.
Well, yeah.
Okay, well, isn't that every 80s slasher movie in some way?
Yeah, like, oh no, he's coming at me with that big thing. What's he going to do to me?
Right.
That's her exact words.
Yeah, but I mean, I do think we make this very literal in certain scenes. Like Diane's death in the garage, where the driller killer literally replaces his penis with the drill.
And that's the poster for the film. So, I mean, it's really hammered home in the marketing. And, of course, when we get to the ending, the castration of it all.
Yeah.
But it was also at the... I'm about to get a lot of groans from you guys. So, it was also at this point that she got the job of editing Steven Spielberg's 1982 classic, E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
What?
Wow, that's a lot to balance.
But she couldn't do both.
Oh, man. So she had to pick, do I want to direct or do I want to edit for this super famous director?
Yes, and apparently she had already signed a contract with Spielberg, and so with her Sophie's Choice, she still said, I feel like this, at least if I can get a directing gig, like if I get a film out that I've directed, this will be my foot in the door. I may never get a chance to direct a film again. So Spielberg graciously let her out of her contract, and she chose to direct The Slumber Party Massacre. And of course, some people would think this was a huge mistake, especially since her replacement editor on E.T., Carol Littleton, would get an Academy Award nomination.
Yeah. I mean, no guarantee that had she gone ahead with the contractual gig, she would have also won an Oscar, but...
Littleton did lose to Gandhi's editor that year, by the way. But it wasn't just that. It was also because Don't Open the Door, which during this whole process was eventually renamed The Slumber Party Massacre, was a slasher film, and that was looked at as lowbrow. Why would a woman want to direct a movie like this? And in this featurette, Jones's reply is, well, that's pretty sexist because, and I quote, it's apparently okay for men like Scorsese, Jonathan Demme, Jack Nicholson, and Francis Ford Coppola to go do exploitation films with Roger Corman, but a woman is supposed to be above that? Sorry, that's the way you broke into the business.
Sure. Which is ironic. Dana, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but the trilogy capper for Ty West, Maxine, feels like maybe the character, like the director character from that film could be based on Amy Holden Jones.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't seen Maxine yet, but based on the trilogy, I could understand maybe why they would take or make an homage.
Yeah, because the Elizabeth Debicki character is very much like, I'm trying to make a quality film, but also this is my one shot to impress somebody, even if you look at it and say it's a cheap, low-budget slasher film.
And it's interesting, though, because so Holden Jones, she doesn't, I'm just going to call her Jones. She doesn't edit things after this. So she directs this movie, and she directs a movie called Love Letters in 83 and something called Made, M-I-A-D, to Order in 87.
Oh, I loved Made to Order when I was a kid.
Oh, okay.
So, there you go. So she wrote and directed that film. But then she only directs one more film in the 90s called The Rich Man's Wife. But she has co-written on Mystic Pizza, the first Beethoven movie with the dog, Indecent Proposal, and The Relic. But I didn't know this. Did y'all ever remember? Okay, so from 2018 to 2023, there was this medical procedural called The Resident with Matt Shushri from Gilmore Girls. Okay,
yeah,
she's the creator of that show, and she that's her big claim to fame at this point.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that she ultimately does end up making a career for herself in the industry.
But okay, so going back into these themes of Slumber Party Massacre, because again, you think, oh, female directed, feminist, female written, like it's gonna be something like really subversive. And Jones says, when you do a film for Corman, there were certain expectations, namely tits, butts, and blood. And that, weirdly enough, nudity was more important to Corman than sex, because he was much more about titillation. And Jones understood this, but wasn't particularly interested in it, which is why she gets most of the nudity out of the way at the very beginning of the film with that shower scene.
Yeah, like really, we do front load a lot of the nudity. It's basically this, and then when they change into their pajamas
at the slumber party. Yeah, I noticed that too.
Yeah, so her mentality was like, you want it, here it is. Now I can start doing what I want to do.
Exactly.
It was a conscious decision on her part to do a bit of a gender role reversal with her characters, which is why the male characters in the film, specifically Jeff and Neil, sort of occupied the roles relegated to female characters that you would see in a slasher film. And fun fact, Dave Milburn, who plays Jeff, is gay in real life and wrote and directed the 2022 Here TV documentary 100 Years of Men in Love, The Accidental Collection.
Nice.
Okay.
He was or is boyfriends with famed producer and Here TV co-founder Paul Kolikman. Like he produced Gods and Monsters with wow. Yeah, and this guy Milburn was also in that movie.
Nice. Okay.
So queerness all over this thing, but they shot the film on location in Los Angeles in July of 1981 in actual houses that were next door to each other and, crucially, very close to Roger Corman's New World Picture Studio.
Yeah. cheap.
Because it's a Corman production, like, it didn't get a fancy preview screening, and there's not really much box office information about this film, but rather than getting, like, a fancy preview screening, it was just screened on Hollywood Boulevard where more lowbrow movies were screened. And apparently, this first preview screening, they had a full audience that, quote-unquote, went ape for it. From the very beginning, there were people screaming and laughing and making drilling noises and talking back at the screen, which scared Jones, because she was kind of like, oh my god, what is it that bad? What have I done? And she walked out in the lobby to find Corman listening in, and she was like, what did we do? And his reply was, we've just done the best preview in New World history.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Critically, the film was not particularly well received.
No.
With many considering it to be on the lower end of the already critically derived slasher subgenre, negatively comparing it to better films, like the Halloween franchise and, again, better, quote-unquote, Friday the 13th. But it was still considered one of the major slashers of the 80s, especially on the home video market, where it really, really blew up. But like Rotten Tomatoes, we've got a 48%, but that average score is 4.9 out of 10. But again, it's got this huge cult following among slasher fans, and it's hard to track down for a while. Like, there was a DVD set released in 2000 for the whole trilogy, and I guess it went out of print very quickly. So, like, in the mid-2000s, you would find copies of this movie selling for $60 to $70 on eBay until Shout Factory released the Blu-ray in 2014.
Right, and it's been a mainstay on Shudder for years now.
Mm-hmm. Joe, have you seen the sequels to this movie?
I've seen the second one, and it is a big genre shift. So it's a musical, and it's much more deliberately campy and funny.
Now that sounds like fun. I gotta watch that on Tubi now.
Yes, I would say it's definitely the wilder of the films. I've never seen the third one, but by all accounts, it's terrible.
It's bad. Yeah.
But the problem with two is because we're following Courtney in that movie, and I hate that character.
Yeah, Courtney's a very divisive character.
Okay, all right.
But it goes really kind of like fantastical. So like the killer's drill is now like he uses a killer guitar, and it's a lot of dream sequences if I remember correctly.
It is indeed, yeah, and it does the Friday the 13th piece where it repurposes a whole section of this film just to like pad the runtime.
Oh, that's also Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Yeah. Not to those extents, but like we definitely, I want to say, get like at least a 5-minute recap.
I think for me, as a critic and as somebody who's really focused on like women characters and queer characters, what's missing for me in Slumber Party Massacre is any sort of development or getting to know these characters.
Oh yeah.
It's almost just like they're just fodder for this drill, right? Whether they're women, whether they're men, whatever. I missed getting to know them in any sort of way. Because at a certain point, I had no idea even whose names belonged to who, because no one really had a specific story.
I think that's where you feel the push and pull of, okay, Holden Jones wanting to make her movie, but then also having to compromise it to make a Corman film. And I'm not saying that Jones is totally innocent here, but I'm also not saying she's totally culpable here. And I think some of the bright spots for me, though, is that I like just getting to spend time with the girls, even if we're not particularly learning anything new about them.
Yeah, like they're a fun group of girls. You just continually wish that you are actually getting to know them as opposed to just spending time with them.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, again, the character development meter here is very low.
Yeah.
And I know that's not a huge priority in slashers, but give me something to work with, you know?
It's also like a 77-minute movie.
Which is kind of wild, right? This is definitely one of those cases where you think, oh, would 10 minutes more have helped? But also, there's whole sections of this film where, like, when we get to the plot synopsis, you'll see I truncated it down because it feels like, okay, we're just checking in with Valerie and Courtney. And then, okay, the girls are just doing something over at Trish's house. And it's a wild film in that it has very memorable sequences, but it also feels like it shouldn't be this long.
And I think that's why I think the middle act drags for me because, I mean, we do kill people, but like, I do enjoy the last 20 minutes of this movie because I think once it kicks into high gear, like once the pizza delivery guy comes up with his eyes drilled out, I'm like, okay, cool. Like we're moving into at least like fast paced slasher territory. But by that point, we've left any semblance of like attempts at character development behind because we are in slasher mode.
That makes a lot of sense. I would 100% agree with that because there are sections in the middle that I am almost 100% sure were just improvised. Like, I'm serious. Like, I think they were just like, just talk about like nonsense right now. We just need some filler here because it doesn't do anything for the plot. And I'm like, this sounds like improv to me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it also could just be like they were trying a bunch of different stuff with the lines they were given and these were the best takes.
Right, yeah.
Building a business may feel like a big jump, but OnDeck Small Business Loans can help keep you afloat. With lines of credit up to $100,000 and term loans up to $250,000, OnDeck lets you choose the loan that's right for your business. As a top-rated online small business lender, OnDeck's team of loan advisors can help you find the right business loan to fit your needs. Visit OnDeck.com for more information. Depending on certain loan attributes, your business loan may be issued by OnDeck or Celtic Bank. OnDeck does not lend in North Dakota. All loans and amounts subject to lender approval.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of all I have, Joe. I maybe we can use that to feed some of our thoughts on the plot of this film.
Sure, yeah. Okay, so we begin with sleepy images of a suburban neighborhood, and then we both hear and see news reports that serial killer Russ Thorne, who is played, as you said, by Michael Vallella, has escaped. And we learn that he has killed 5 people before he was incarcerated or captured.
This actually is a joke that I did like, though. Every time that these girls could potentially learn about the mass murder that's escaped, they seemingly ignore it at all costs.
Turn off the radio, turn off the TV. We don't care.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it becomes, I mean, whether or not you want to say it's a joke, arguably, but there's this whole running gag where people don't seem to care about the fact that there is a serial killer on the loose. So it's, like there's one point where Coach Jana, the girls' basketball coach or PE teacher, she literally calls Valerie, who lives next door to Trish, who's hosting this slumber party, and says, well, can you just go and look? And it's like, bitch, there's a serial killer on the loose. Why are you sending a teenage girl out after dark?
Well, and I guess that's where, again, it's kind of like, okay, but then it makes these girls look stupid.
I just read this as teenagers who are obsessed with their own thing. Like, there's a moment with Trish where she says she wants to invite the new girl, Valerie, and she tells this to her friend Diane, and Diane is being really bitchy about it, right? Like, oh, why do you have to invite her? Why can't it just be like old times? And then when Diane... like when her boyfriend shows up and basically says, hey, leave the slumber party so we can go back to my house and fuck, she says, no, I've really got to be there. And then she goes and asks Trish for permission. And it feels like there's this whole subplot of history between the two girls where the friendship is fracturing and something to do with Valerie coming in and usurping or interfering with that. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, that could be really interesting, but I have to parse through a lot, or I have to project and make up a lot of backstory because unfortunately it's just not actually in the film.
Well, there's a moment in the locker room that feels really charged between the two girls talking. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, are we going to get a little bit more of this? And then it kind of just drops.
Yes.
Right. Well, because Diane's definitely meant to be the mean girl of the movie. I after Kim, she's probably my favorite performer in the film just because she gets a little bit more to work with. Although that also may just be my affinity for like bitchy girls in horror films. But,
yes.
But yeah.
Okay, so sorry. We're still at the opening. So Trish wakes up. Yeah, we get this fake scream on the radio that's waking her up. And it turns out it's actually just a girl who's won a contest. It's not a scary moment. And I do love when it's revealed, oh, you won a station t-shirt. And she goes, oh.
There are a couple of moments of editing humor in this movie too, but I'll get to the big one later.
Right. Okay. So Trish gets up, immediately takes off her clothes so that she can put on a dress so that we can get them tits out of the way. And then she proceeds to pack up a bag of toys in a brown paper bag. And we will learn she's kind of editing the room because she's not a teenager anymore. And I think this is part of that. Oh, she's a virgin who is maybe starting to think about having sex She wants to be perceived as more grown up.
I just couldn't let go of that brown paper bag. It is hideous.
Okay.
and it's so loud, and this is also when she's missing the report of Russ's escape on the radio.
It is indeed, yes. And younger listeners, it may surprise you to learn that back in the day, you would actually get groceries and such things in paper bags. We didn't have plastic all the time.
Well, we don't even get that because we have to bring our own bags now.
Truly, yes, yeah. Okay, so outside we are introduced to neighbor David Contant, and he is played by Rig Kennedy, and he reassures Trish's parents that he's going to keep an eye on her and maybe the other girls if there's some kind of party, and with this sort of parental consent in mind, they are free to leave for the weekend.
And Trish is noticeably upset when she finds out that she's going to have someone watching over her, but I like this. I like this character a little bit.
He's a little weirder than we might expect. You know, there's a very unusual character trait that we will get to. But yeah, initially you think, oh, this is going to be the guy who's really annoying. He's going to interfere with all the fun that the teenagers would be having. And then he's revealed to be different than you think, which I think the film believes is subversive. And I think the film thinks it's doing this a couple of times.
But he doesn't feel lecherous, though, does he? Like, I never feel like he's like predatoring on the girls.
I mean, he reads queer to me, but 90% of the characters read queer to me in this movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so Trish throws the bag full of toys and dolls and such, and we see a hand grab the Barbie from the trash. So we proceed on to school. This is where we're introduced to Jeff, who reads about 3 to 5 years younger than all of the girls. Like, both the boys read like preteens, whereas all the girls read like high school seniors.
Well, I think there's an issue with, it doesn't just extend to the boys though, because again, we mentioned Courtney, but like, I think there's an issue with some characters being written a lot younger than the actors they're portraying, that are portraying them.
Well, we also have the issue because there's going to be nudity. All the actors had to be of a certain age, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But they look so, and this is kind of universal in the 80s. They look at least in their early 30s. And that's being generous.
Yeah, this is back when people smoked and we just didn't really look after our skin as much and so on. But yeah, you're not wrong, Dana. They definitely do not read teenager. The thing is that I don't think it would be so glaringly obvious if we didn't have characters like Jeff and Neil. So Jeff, as you mentioned, Trace is played by David Milburn. Mm-hmm. Neil is played by Joseph Allen Johnson. And then, yeah, Courtney, which is Valerie's younger sister. Like, they all just don't look the right age for who they're playing. But it also makes the teenage girls look way older.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you right now that, this cannot be right. Because this is saying that Dave Milburn is like 15 when he's making this movie, the guy that's playing Jeff, which doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know. But the only ages I really have, so Robin Style, who plays Valerie, she was 20 when they made this movie. Okay. And Brinka Stevens, who is the girl that gets killed in the locker room, she was like 26 when they made this movie.
Yeah, that's Linda, I believe.
Yes, and she's actually one of the only actresses that would go on to actually have a career, admittedly in the horror genre, like doing things like Sorority Babes and the Slime Ball Bolorama and things like that. But none of the others really went on to do anything.
Right. I feel like Dana wants to say something about how, well, they would have to have talent.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
That checks out.
Everyone has their moments. I'm not going to slam everybody. I mean, who knows who had what experience and what sort of direction they were actually given on set. But let's say everyone has their moments, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of them chose different careers.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They gave the acting thing a shot.
Yeah.
So basically, Jeff and Neil feel like they have been imported from a completely different film, maybe Porky's or Animal House or something like that, but they are very much the horny young teenage boys, so they are interested in Valerie because she is new, so presumably they might be able to use her as a conquest, but their attention is initially, right in this scene, distracted because they are looking at phone repair woman, who is played by Jean Vargas, and she's up on a ladder, so they try to be chivalrous and help her with that, and it's like, oh, this is a cute moment, and then she's immediately killed in the back of her van.
And I think this is something I see too in feminist reads of the film, where it's like, oh, look, like it's a woman occupying like a typically male-dominated field.
Yes, because there's actually only a couple of men in this entire movie. It is a predominantly female cast.
But does that matter when she gets killed immediately?
Well, I mean, she's one of many women who get killed throughout the course of the film.
And this some film somehow manages to not do the Bechdel test very well, even though a majority of the cast is women.
Well, it's a thing where I feel like, well, I was if it was remade today, but we have a remake already. But like, where I would expect her knowledge of the phone business to come into play to help them at some point. But this woman's not a character because, again, she shows up, gets ogled, and gets killed.
Yes, correct. So we pay no attention to her. No one notices or sees this. Like, we will actually walk by her body in a trash dumpster later, and no one will be any the wiser.
That was
I think
funny
that's
to
meant
me.
to be a joke.
It is meant to be a joke.
And so we move into gym class, where we're introduced to Coach Rachel Jana, who is played by Pamela Roy Lance, and she is coaching the girls on basketball, and they kind of suck. They need a lot of direction. They're not very good at playing their positions. And then at the end of the scene, we learned that this was apparently varsity basketball.
I need to tell you that I was a terrible basketball player, and I was exceedingly better at basketball than these girls.
What we're hearing is that these girls maybe didn't go on to pursue careers as actors, but also not basketball players.
Like, this was not the WNBA, no. But I also think that, like, nobody really put any effort into being like, let's try to make this look realistic.
No.
Well, I guess the idea is that it's a bunch of teen boys watching this movie, and so they don't boys like sports? Yeah, how do you play? I don't know, but just to have them throw a basketball around.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, we've seen amusing PE representations in horror films. Like, Trace, I'm thinking of
PE representations.
PE, the representation that matters, physical education.
Yeah.
Because doesn't somebody get decapitated with dodgeball in like some random movie in the 80s? And I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, we did shit like this.
You might be thinking of Wes Craven's Deadly Friend, where Christy Swanson destroys Anne Ramsey's head with a basketball in her living room.
Could be that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there are often like kind of like gym. I mean, even going back to Carrie, Carrie's set in the gym.
Yes.
Sure. Which I'm not going to lie, when we move into the showers after this PE class, that's what it feels like we're homaging gently.
Yeah. I will say though, every time I watch this, I do get a big laugh out of the ADR line. I think her tits are getting bigger.
Yeah.
Is that what girls talk about in the locker room all the time?
Yeah, totally.
Always. Always and forever. It's either that or men's sports and how hot the athletes are. That's the other subject of conversation in this film.
Could you imagine a men's locker room? I think your dick's getting bigger.
You know what? I would like to see it.
I spent most of my time just looking at the floor when I was in the locker room.
Same.
100%. It was like change and get out before you could be bullied.
Right.
But also, like, because I think you can tell that Jones has no interest in the nudity, though, because even the way it's shot, like, we get this backside shot of Michelle Michaels as Trish, and it's just like the camera just pans down to show her butt, and there's no pizzazz to it.
It's a checkbox. Like,
yes.
There, I gave it to you. You fucking animals.
Utilitarian
You wanted
nudity.
Yes. Which I find kind of funny. Like, I don't think this is intentional humor, but I find it funny on behalf of Amy Holden-Jones that she's like, okay, fine, you motherfuckers want this? Here you go. Hope you jacked off to it.
Well, and I will say, because I did screen this as part of my Terror Tuesday screening for the Alamo Drafthouse last month. And, I've always, again, just been kind of like lukewarm on this film, but I'd never seen it with a crowd before. And hearing... And this crowd was probably 50% fans, 50% first-time viewers, and there was laughter all throughout this screening. Now, again, whether it's because of intentional humor or unintentional camp is debatable, but it did. I think that's where I kind of learned to. I found new things to appreciate in some of the quote-unquote humor.
Right, yeah. Again, I think a testimony to the fact that if you watch this with people who feel like they are in on the joke, you're probably going to have a better time. Or if you're watching it, for your 10th time, your 50th time.
Or alone on your couch, like I always did.
Well, I don't think that truthfully doesn't help most viewing experiences. Specifically not horror films or comedies.
Not for films like this.
Yeah.
But
Okay, so we're sudsing up, but we're also talking about our slumber party. So we do invite Linda, who is played by, as you said, Brinky Stevens, and we're seeing all the nudity, but Trish wants to invite Valerie, who is played by Robin Style, and this is where Diane, who is played by Gina Marie, basically says, no, I want it to be like old times, don't invite her, I don't like her, even though I don't know her, and of course, Valerie is right fucking there. She hears all of this, so she runs away before Trish can apologize.
Well, and this is where I say, like, Trish turns around, she's like, she heard. And it's like, no, I wrote in my notes, no fucking shit.
Like, it's an open air, and she was on the other side of the wall. Like,
yeah.
Not
Have you
a
guys
lot of
ever
distance.
experienced that, where you're the person in the locker room or in the dressing room or whatever getting talked about and you hear it? Because I have.
That must be a mortifying feeling.
It's like the worst teenage feeling ever.
Okay, wait. So, because whenever this happens in movies, I'm always like, I want the person being talked about to go up and be like, "Fuck you guys!" Like, I can hear you, but like, I feel like in real life you don't do that. So, okay, yeah, did you do
like
that?
the blood just like drains out of your face.
Yeah,
you know, you're so ashamed and embarrassed that you just kind of, melt into the scenery.
Yeah.
Now, does this endear you? Because I think this scene endears you to Valerie. I think Valerie is very much meant to be the character that we are kind of like on this. Like, I mean, because honestly, like, is the protagonist Trish or Valerie?
It's both of them, I think.
Yes. But I don't think this scene necessarily endears you to any of the other girls.
No. As you said, I think this is meant to convey that Diane is a bit of a bitch. We still don't really know anything about Linda. But yeah, I think it's meant to be, Trish is aware of other people's feelings and she wants to be nice, but she's still beholden to these old friendships with some people who maybe aren't so nice.
Yeah, like I was really confused why she didn't run after Valerie to be like, dude, I'm so sorry.
I mean, she's not fully dressed yet, is she?
She is.
Yeah, she's wearing that hideous dress.
Right, yes.
The moo-moo.
No, this is just a dress, Trace.
It could be a moo-moo.
Okay, so she does not run after Valerie, and this will, maybe save Valerie's life or extend part of Valerie's life because she is not at the slumber party for certain portions of it. But, okay, so the group ends up leaving together. They walk by the dumpster with the repair woman's body. And then this is when Linda goes back into the school because she's got this big test on Monday. So she needs to get her books. And we have this chase sequence where she's locked in, she's attacked. We have a bit of a, cat and mouse. And eventually the blood from her injured shoulder gives her away, but this is also an off-screen kill.
Well, I mean, we don't get a lot of on-screen kills, or they're edited around, because again, we're working with a minuscule budget here. And I think that's also why when I first saw this, I was kind of disappointed, because, I mean, when you hear 80s slasher, you have some expectations in mind as to how gory the film is supposed to be. And we get a lot of after shots, like we see the wounds after the corpses are dead already. But that's about it.
Yeah, it's far less bloody than I expected it to be.
Which maybe that's why 10-year-old gay boys were watching it.
Maybe.
It was just a little bit easier to get past the censors. So. Okay, so Trish is driven home on a motorcycle. I think she thanks the guy as Mark, but I couldn't find any actor listed for this part. But this is another sort of drop thing, is this a boyfriend that she's going steady with? This character will never appear again.
Okay, so this is not the one that gets decapitated later, because honestly, I didn't even know that guy's name either.
That's John Minor. That would be Diane's boyfriend.
Good lord, okay.
Yeah, he is played by Jim Boyce, by the way. I do love this reveal that part of the reason that Trish wanted to invite Valerie, and again, this maybe could have been played up for comedy, we learn that Valerie literally lives next door. But it's like, it's this idea that, I'm going to have a party. I don't want to invite this new girl. She lives less than 20 feet away.
I did want to mention something, because we have obviously the introduction of the driller killer, like where we really get to see him, I think, in the Linda chase scene. But I did want to point out that Michael Valea, who plays him, he was a method actor on this set. And he wouldn't talk to any of the girls until after he killed them. It's like when they were having lunch, he'd be hiding in the bushes spying on them. But to prepare for the role, he read Helter Skelter to find his motivation, which is
Charles Manson.
Yes, which is where like so I think the "I'm killing you because I love you," like the "I love you" bit, like that, I think that was improvised by him because he got that out of Helter Skelter.
Okay.
But then for his body language, he used the mannerisms of a peacock as inspiration.
That is wild. I do like that he is so kind of normal looking upon first examination. we're so used to these masked murderers and these guys that are skulking in the shadows or whatever, but he's just kind of like, you could imagine him being like the manager of the local grocery store.
Yeah. If he wasn't just constantly carrying around a big drill.
And killing people.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm right there with you, for sure.
I do kind of love the drill as a weapon. I think it's hugely impractical, but it feels like a statement piece. I feel like, especially at this point in the slasher game, we were really trying to distinguish ourselves. So what is unique about our killer or our slasher film? And this one does stand out.
Because butcher knives, machetes, we just need something that's not like a big blade.
And also, isn't it, let's just be frank, isn't it representing screwing?
Oh, this thing is his penis. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's his penis, and it's screwing women principally to death.
But it also screws quite a few men.
It does indeed.
That's what I was going to say. So then we could read, if we're reading all of the female deaths as sex scenes in a way, then we can view the same thing for the men.
And he does some pretty brutal stuff to the men versus with the women. It's like pretty like, okay, I got you in the stomach, or I got you in the neck or something, but like he carves out people's eyes and he does,
decapitates. He goes real stab happy on poor Neil.
But that's to the men.
Yeah, so the men actually do get the most brutal death. So there you go. Also, feminism in a slasher movie.
There we go.
All right, you've convinced me.
Also, Trace, I don't know if you actually mentioned it, but just to make sure that everybody understands too, Rita Mae Brown was an out and proud lesbian.
I said she was a queer.
She does not identify as lesbian.
Oh, no, one of those. I'm sorry. Okay, no, I will walk it back if people don't want to identify as something. That is completely their prerogative. It's just more when people say like, oh, I don't need to do the thing because I don't want to make it political, or I don't need to draw attention to it. I'm like, no, especially now, but I think there's always a time for people who are specifically in a spotlight, or if they have a chance to stand up, they need to be public about things.
But her book was very much an autobiographical queer coming of age story. So whether or not she identifies as lesbian, like she is,
right.
That book was automatically political because of its content.
Well, she had a massive role in a lot of political queerness and feminism,
right?
In the 70s and 80s. She's a complicated person. I have complicated feelings myself about Rita Mae Brown. There have been things that she's said about queerness and her feelings about this and that I have, found interesting. But yeah, I don't even think that she identifies as anything if I'm correct, because she says she doesn't. She says she thinks everyone's at least a little bit bisexual, if I remember the quote correctly.
So, maybe she doesn't use the term sexually fluid, but is that maybe the term we would just apply to that?
Yes, probably.
Yeah. But also, I do love that quote about everybody's just a little bisexual. You know what? I think more people could stand to embrace that idea.
Well, it's a spectrum.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're introduced to Diane's boyfriend, John. He attacks her, and we learn that she is actually sort of capable of taking care of herself, which I kind of liked, and I wish we could have seen just a little bit more of this as the film progresses. Mm-hmm. So, we go home with Coach Jana.
I'd go home with Coach Jana.
I like Coach Jana. Honestly, my letterbox review for this film is just justice for Coach Jana.
100%.
In that Speedo shirt, yeah.
She's an interesting character who you really feel like you wish you knew more about her. But we're flirting with this female carpenter who's played by Pam Canzano. And we should note that this female carpenter is also voyeuristically drilling peepholes. We're talking about a missing pussy cat who will eventually be revealed to be named Muffin.
Oh my god.
This is all super fucking queer, people.
That had to have come from Rita Mae Brown. That section must have.
But I think again, that's where the performance is. I guess if we're talking about this as a parody, like when I think of a parody, I think of a really heightened style of acting. Like it can be bad, but
this isn't over the top enough.
Yeah, and I think that's where that disconnect from parody is coming from me, because it's like, oh, my pussy cat named Muffin, maybe it's an issue with the delivery.
Dana, have you seen the 1981 film Student Bodies?
Oh gosh, I may have.
Yeah, that was like a pre-scary movie scary movie. It was in the Airplane era.
Well, it's a parody of slashers, so it comes out the year before this. And I think part of it is like, if you want to see how broadly you would typically play it, Student Bodies is a really accurate reflection of that. And I think your comparison to Scary Movie is apt, Trace, because Scary Movie is big and over the top too. So if you say, oh, well, this film is sort of a parody, I think that's where the tension lies, is that it wants to be both a conventional slasher, but then also this parody. And
it dilutes both. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
So we're back at Trish's. She is startled by Mr. Content. We should note this movie is filled with sort of half-hearted jump scares. So like there is a literal cat scare with Muffin the cat.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, cool.
And also people just sneak up on each other all the damn time in this movie. And he's like, he's walking around with a a butcher knife, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, Trish, didn't mean to scare you."
But
in the dark
front
with
door
my
was open.
butcher knife.
To the point though, where all of these kind of scares happen so often that again, I think that's meant to be I think it's meant to be the running gag of the film.
Yeah.
Where it's like this always happens in horror movies. See, we're making it happen all the time.
Exactly. We just need a way over the top stinger, or we need somebody, like I think of Scary Movie, that Tatum stand-in where the girl goes, oh, Kitty, you scared me.
Too.
And then there's another one, and she looks over and there's a fucking horse. And she goes, oh, horsey, you scared me.
Yeah.
Like it needs to be that level of absolute ridiculousnousness.
Well, they didn't have the money for a horse in this movie.
They had money for timing. Okay, they had money.
I do love Mr. Content, though. He's wearing, I remember my notes, a very flamboyant Hawaiian shirt.
Yes. He might as well be wearing an ascot. He looks like Fred from Scooby-Doo.
He does. And he's killing snails.
The snails thing? That's such a random thing.
It's wild.
Many, as you said, Dana, many random things in this movie. And the idea of the snails, I was like, what? Why?
What the fuck?
Like, who goes around chopping up snails with a butcher knife, for fun at night?
But again, I think that's supposed to be the joke.
Yes, yeah. Or just a really quirky character trait. And it kind of achieves both, but also not, right?
Yeah.
So we have Sporty Kim, and then we also have Jackie, who is played by Andre Honoré. And my biggest issue is that I think Jackie could be really fun. Like, she's the girl who gets the pizza stuff. But apart from that, I think she's the biggest non-entity of all of the girls.
Yeah, she's the least developed for sure. And I think it's the fact that she is played by a black actress makes it all the more cringy.
And she has one of the funniest bits in the whole movie, too.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, we could have seen more of this. This was fun. Like, she's eating a pizza as they are waiting for this driller killer to come for them.
On top of a dead body.
Well, and I think because the pizza joke is kind of like this movie's
it's the big one.
It's the calling card. That's the one joke that everyone always mentions when they mention Slumber Party Massacre.
Yes, this and Kim repeatedly almost falling out of the fridge.
Actually, that is a good bit. That's a good bit.
Okay, so the girls arrive with Maui Wowie Pot. This was back in the days where, it was either skunky weed or you would have something super flavored like a Maui Wowie. And it was one of the two. Never mind, you can get in 10 different flavors and different variations of THC and stuff. But yeah, I do like that this is the reveal that Mr. Content is not a prude. He's not going to narc on them or anything. So he basically sees the pot and says, okay, that's my cue to leave.
And then he's almost immediately killed.
Trying to get his 46th snail.
Yeah. Okay, so the film spends a lot of time cross-cutting between Trisha's party and also what's going on with Valerie and the character that we have mentioned, her sister Courtney, who is played by Jennifer Myers. But instead of going back and forth a million times, let's just spend a little bit of time talking about principally the just Valerie and Courtney stuff that happens in their house.
And the Kool-Aid they're making?
The Kool-Aid.
With an entire pack of sugar?
That's how it was made,
That's how you gotta do it, baby. If you read the instructions on Kool-Aid, it is a full cup of sugar.
Oh, yeah, it is.
So,
that's the good stuff.
Okay, Courtney. Now, this is clearly a character who's meant to be 12, who is played by an 18-year-old girl, right?
If we're lucky, she was 18. I suspect she may have been in her early 20s.
Yeah, it's wild that we actually don't get any nudity from her. I'm glad because she is coded so young.
Yes, especially some of the things that they have her do. But then also they make her the biggest horn dog in the entire movie.
Which adds a really kind of creepy sexual undertone to it. But at the same time, though, as much as I really don't like this character, I do think that this is the acting style because she's still playing her like a 12-year-old. It's not just the dialogue she's saying. She's acting like a 12-year-old too. And this is maybe some of that heightened performance that I'm wanting from a parody. But it's so disconnected from all the other performances in the film for me.
It's kind of like when we're talking about Gina Gershon in Showgirls, how she
right.
knew what movie she was in. I think this actor knew what movie she was in.
Right. The problem is that nobody else is meeting her energy or her wackiness.
Just like Showgirls.
Yeah, but I would argue Gina Gershon's performance in Showgirls is great. It's arguably
it's
one
perfection.
of the best things.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for a lot of people, Courtney is the character that they find the most grating, the most perplexing. I actually have come around on Courtney quite a bit. Is she an annoying little brat? Yes, but she's also meant to be. She's the annoying younger sister to Valerie who is a little too uptight. She got an invite to a party on a fucking Friday night and she doesn't go. And here's Courtney like, oh, well, let's just make me over and we'll go over there and have a really great fucking time after I jacket or, lady jacket to Playgirl magazine.
Well, and I will say that just to push that sequel again, they do recast Courtney in the sequel with Wings' Crystal Bernard.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of do like that instead of the typical horn dog little brother that we get in a lot of 80s movies.
We gender flip it.
They do gender flip it here.
Yeah, it's just again because she's acting so bratty for looking so old. That's
it's unsettling.
It's very unsettling.
Like, why is this adult acting like a 12-year-old girl?
I'm like, go watch cartoons or something. Jeez.
Well, and like I support her decision, her ability to read a Playgirl magazine. Like, by all means, go. It just feels weird because of the way she's acting.
Well, I think the character is also really inconsistent, right? She clearly wants to be sexual. She wants to do adult things, which again is very much a preteen wanting to be a teenager, wanting to be an adult trait. But then she gets mad at Valerie when Valerie suggests and like is joking with her. Oh, well, I told our parents that you were masturbating in the 5th grade. And Courtney acts like this is the biggest betrayal. Like she gets super fucking mad. She runs away for a little bit. And you're just like, girl, you're the one who's sitting on your sister's bed reading her Playgirl. What are we doing?
And eating a giant lollipop?
Oh my god, the infantilization, I can't.
I wrote that too. I was like, the fact that she's reading the Playgirl while she is sucking this lollipop.
I physically recoiled.
Yes, it's like in some ways I think, oh, this is very weird and kind of fun. And then the other part of my brain just goes, what are we doing right now? What is everybody thinking?
And then we have this makeover scene where she makes her look like, well, I guess this is pre-Breakfast Club, but it's like the same makeover that Ali Sheedy gets in the Breakfast Club.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Braid my hair. Let me do a full face of makeup.
Which, admittedly, like, I only had one sister, so I didn't watch, like, two sisters growing up together, so I don't know how accurate this portrayal is.
It's pretty on board, especially if they were close in age, like just a few years apart. Like it's not their relationship and their like the way they talk to each other actually
is the most authentic.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Because I definitely played a bunch of stupid pranks on my sister, not, pretending to be dead when there's a serial killer out and about or attacking her with a dull knife and then reassuring her, don't worry so much, it's a dull knife. But, I mean, it feels, oh boy, this character, even just, we haven't really talked a ton about the costuming, but she's running around in like hot short shorts in brightly colored orange. It's a lot of choices. I mean, this is the early 80s, so many of them make sense, but...
Yeah, but she also always has a bow in her hair, which again makes her look younger.
Yes.
Well, it makes her seem younger, maybe not look younger.
There we go. Yeah. Okay, so basically, like, this is all happening in drips and drabs as we're cutting back and forth between Trish and the other girls. So let's go back over there. So Diane arrives at the party, and this is when the girls get changed into their pajamas, and Jeff and Neil are spying on them. And this is classic 80s behavior, right? It's horny boys who are looking at girls getting changed. We're seeing tatas, and then somebody has to pay for it.
I can tell you, as a former teenage girl, I never did this at a slumber party. I never just dropped trow in front of all my pals in the living room. Like, we all like went into a bathroom and changed into our pajamas.
Yeah. Was it also like when you were meant to be the age of 17 or 18?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if maybe when girls got older, their modesty was gone. But I feel like maybe you
No.
get more modesty as you get older.
Oh my God, I still changed in the bathroom at the gym. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so Dana, the fun thing about the remake is that we invert these scenes, so it's the girls spying on the boys, and we actually get slow motion shower scenes where the camera just quite literally oogles the male form as the water is pouring off of them.
And we do get a slow motion male all-boy pillow fight.
Yes.
Oh my.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
And the one thing with every entry in this franchise, including the remake, is female written and female directed. So
yes.
There at least is that.
Right.
Consistency. That name is Slumber Party Massacre. Okay, so yes, everybody's getting changed. This is when Diane is startled by Mr. Contant when he is out hunting snails in the dark because she has gone out. I can't remember what she's looking for, but
she's getting firewood.
Wood, yeah.
There we go. Yes.
And
that's the thing.
Well, actually, I think the snail is a jump scare because she gets scared by the snail, which is
she goes like, gross, ew.
Yeah. And he tells her he's on a snail hunt, and I could not be sure that this wasn't a euphemism because she says something about, oh yeah, I think my dad does that too.
Oh, like a snail trail?
Well, or like snail being a euphemism for female anatomy.
No, I know, but isn't a snail trail like a euphemism for something with a vagina?
It's a grosser thing, Chase. I really need you to stop talking about female bodies when you don't know them.
Oh my goodness.
But that's the joke!
Trace, you are unfortunately correct.
There you go. Thank you.
This is when Mr. Contant gets it. It's like mostly kind of off screen. It's fine. Whatever. Yeah. So inside, the girls are reading their horoscopes. You keep wanting stuff like this to either turn into something or feed into the plot of the film, but it's kind of just what you were saying, Trace. It's just them hanging out and doing stuff.
This could have actually been really easy, lazy character development by just doing the horoscope for all the girls and just make it actually what their characters are. So you're like, oh, there's your character development in this horoscope scene.
But they're also reading the local news.
Well,
I don't know why that for some reason that like just struck me as really funny that they're just like going through the newspaper.
Yeah. Like they've got nothing better to do. They're not, we've
watching
already smoked
TV.
the pot. Yeah, they're not watching movies or TV. They're not like trying to look at porn themselves or anything.
Let's check out the obits.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I did read the horoscopes in my local paper whenever I was growing up, but I guess maybe not like surrounded by all my boyfriends.
Like Friday night?
Well,
no.
Yeah.
But this is when Trish gets freaked out because she sees that the Barbie doll she threw out this morning has been impaled or staked into the wall with Mr. Contant's knife. So briefly, we have a bit of a freak out, but of course, like in most movies, we assume that this is a prank or we just move past it. And then I do like this part where Diane gets on the phone with John so that they can kind of like baby talk and coo at each other, and all the girls are listening in and making fun of them. I quite like this.
I like this too. She says, I think our First Amendment's been violated, and I don't think she knows what the First Amendment is.
Free speech. No eavesdropping? I don't think that's quite right. You know what? She could run for politics nowadays because, she clearly doesn't get it, so... this is when the lights go out. So the girls have to go into kind of Scooby-Doo mode because we see them filing out into the garage one by one. We've got candles and torches.
Lighters, yeah.
Yeah. So they go to reset the fuse, and this is when they stumble onto Jeff and Neil, and we punch Jeff fully in the face. So again, the suggestion that the girls can actually take care of themselves.
And that's something I see often too, is these girls aren't just victims, which again, I might quibble with it when we get into the last act, but like, cause they don't always really defend themselves well against the killer. It's always against the non-threatening characters in the film, but yeah, point taken.
It's half and half, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when Diane's boyfriend, John, arrives in his car. So he honks the horn, which immediately tells us that he is a piece of shit because he can't even come up and talk to the others. So she goes out, we park in the garage, and he uses this as an opportunity to say, oh, my parents aren't home, so we should definitely go fuck at my place. So she goes back inside to ask permission from Trish. And this is the segment I was talking about earlier where there's a hint that there is conflict or that the friendship between Trish and Diane is fracturing. There just isn't enough here to do something interesting with.
Well, I will tell you that having your boyfriend show up at the slumber party or the
Big
girls' party, big no-no. I broke up with a guy.
What?
Because he showed up at a party I was at with my girlfriend's slumber party.
Okay.
Well,
how did he take it? Did he understand, or was he like, oh, I don't get it. What's the big deal?
Well, I mean, the fact that I didn't like to kiss him either probably was a good indicator that it wasn't a good... So I was very much like Megan in But I'm a Cheerleader during those years.
I will go out with people, but I will not do anything physical with them because the idea kind of repulses me.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
While we don't get any more development in this, what we do get is an insert shot of Diane's boob as he's feeling it up.
Yeah.
I think that's the last bit of nudity we get in the film. I think so. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Diane gets permission from Trish, who clarifies she didn't need to ask. It's very much like, no, yeah, it's fine. It's not a big deal. You didn't have to ask. You should have known better. And then when Diane goes out to tell her boyfriend the good news, this is when she discovers he has been decapitated in the car. And then she tries to get everybody's attention by honking the horn. But oh no, slasher movie trope. They can't hear because they're making daiquiris with the blender. I am kind of a sucker for the slasher movie trope of like the killer who puts the severed head back on the neck just so that someone can find it and knock it off.
Listen, if only they made soundproof buildings the way they did during the slasher era,
Right?
it would have saved me so much drama renting apartments. And I mean, no one can hear anything. People are screaming, there's a pneumatic drill, there's honking, and everyone's like, did you guys hear something?
No, I heard nothing. What? I mean, that's also another inconsistent piece in this film. Like, there's a moment where Courtney definitely hears Diane screaming as she's getting drilled to death by the driller killer. And then later on, when Neil is pounding on the front door of her and Valerie's house, Valerie's just watching a movie and is like, doo-doo-doo.
Right. But before all this happens, you can hear a flea fart in these houses, and they're like, "Did you hear?"
It's a sonic boom.
Something. I heard a clicking noise in the closet. But you can't hear a man screaming and banging on your front door, which is like 20 feet from you.
Well,
it's wild.
And that scene, though, I think gets some fun editing, though, out of Neil's death, cross-cutting with the slasher film that Valerie is watching.
Yes, actually, it's not a slasher film. It is a crime film called Hollywood Boulevard from 1976.
Oh, you mean the Joe Dante's directorial debut that Jones edited?
No, that's Piranha. We already clarified that earlier.
That's so funny. I know that was. But no, wait, the one match cut that I do, maybe, is it a match cut? Sure. That I love in this film is when Diane gets killed, and then we just cut to the daiquiris getting made in the blender.
Yes. Yeah.
That's your brilliant joke of editing right there.
Yeah. And of course, we should note that Diane getting killed is that scene where we see the drill as the phallus.
Yes.
You cannot misinterpret it.
Right. It like flops down between his legs. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so obvious.
It really drills the point home,
Boo.
Bing. You know what? Somebody laughed out there for that, Trace.
Snail trail.
Boo.
Oh my god, I just muted myself to take a sip of my water, and it came a little out of my nose there.
There you go.
Cut it out a little bit. There we go. He got you in the end with the drill. Okay. So we have also ordered pizza at an earlier point in the film. So we ring the doorbell because it has arrived. So Jeff and Neil collect money. And then at the same time, Kim is calling Coach Jenna to talk about last night's ball game. And I just wrote in my notes because lesbian.
Yay. Also, we didn't get a chance to mention this before, but the blonde
Kim.
She has the best outfit in the when she arrives at the slumber party.
Yeah.
She's wearing suspenders with high-waisted pants and like this tight t-shirt. I love it.
It's great. She's a fashion icon. And then she changes into a jersey. Yeah. And here's the thing. A lot of the fashion in this movie is exceptionally 80s. Like some of it has, come and gone again because we did the 80s again, when Stranger Things was still popular. But I would argue that Kim's fashion is still very much in, like, you could definitely wear this now and you would still be, oh yeah, like that's a good outfit. Everybody's going to appreciate that.
Yeah. And it was kind of, it's, in every 80s movie, you had to have that like archetypal tomboy kind of character.
Sure.
Like you think like in Carrie, you've got the character that with
PJ Souls.
Yes, exactly.
The hat,
so she reminds me of that for this, but yeah, I'm
absolutely
obsessed. I would absolutely wear that around Portland.
Nice. Yeah. I will say, not a fan of like the shit-colored satin panties that one of them changes into. That's just like, oh, those are not.
It's burnt sienna.
Thank you.
I do Ian Carlos Crawford's podcast quite a bit, Slayer Fest 98, and we always talk about our favorite outfits at the end. So I love being able to talk about it.
And this one has plenty of them.
Truly, yeah. Okay, so the pizza boy, he delivers, except in this case, he is missing his eyes. We should note he is played by an actor named Aaron Lipstad. And I love that. Okay, so this is the moment. Moving forward from now on, Trace, everybody knows there's a killer and our behaviors change and so on. But I kind of like that. I mean, I think we're going to have some interesting conversations about how people do and don't react in the face of danger. But in this particular moment, it's like, okay, shit is going down. Drag that body in, barricade the door.
Yes. I think, though, so I like everything that's happening in Trish's house from this point forward. But I think because, honestly, I thought this happened further, close towards the end of the film. But it's really kind of the midway point of the movie. And this is when we start cutting a lot more with lengthier segments to the Valerie and Courtney scenes. And I think that kills some of the momentum of the Trish scenes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it does. So we were on the phone with Coach Jana when this all went down. So she understands that something has gone on, but then we have hung up so that we can call the police. But before we can give the address or the phone number, Russ Thorne cuts the line. So we have been effectively cut off from society.
This is when it would have been nice to have that phone woman around.
Right.
Right. Yeah. And then the operator's just like, oh well.
Yeah.
We're not even going to bother looking at addresses that start with that, I guess.
No.
Actually, it would have been really funny if she was here and she was like, the phone's missing, or the phone's been cut. And that's her entire contribution to this experience.
Right. I don't think people are in danger, but the phone was definitely cut off. I can confirm that. And now I'm going to go back to the precinct. No, there's no police officers in this movie at all.
No.
So Coach Jana does end up calling Valerie and asking her to investigate. And Valerie, as arguably the smartest person in this film, says, fuck no. So Coach Jana gets in the car and decides she's going to investigate.
But okay, I feel free to disagree with me, but I was kind of like, Valerie, just go fuck. They're right across. You're going to make your coach, your gym teacher, drive all the way over here to check on these girls when all you have to do is walk across the street?
Listen, as Ani DeFranco says, self-preservation is a full-time occupation.
But she doesn't know about the killer that's loose yet either, does she?
I don't think so.
We haven't seen her turn off any radio broadcasts about the killer, but we also haven't seen her be in the presence of a radio broadcast about the killer.
It's true. It's Schrodinger's cat of whether or not she knows there's a serial killer. Okay, so back at Trish's, Neil suggests that he and Jeff are going to split up. They're going to be the action superstars. They're going to rescue these girls. So one of them is going to go out the back. One of them is going to go out the front. There is this moment where they make this decision and Amy Holden-Jones just holds on the two boys for a beat. And it, honest to God, looks like they're about to kiss.
I noticed it too, and I was like, well, that's an interesting choice. But they're best friends, maybe. Well, to me, it was like one of us might, or both of us might die.
Yes.
And that actually was a moment, a beat that I didn't mind, and it kind of made sense in that moment.
Well, yeah. Actually knowing that at least one of the actors is gay in real life, too.
Right. There we go.
But also, again, I do like this, that they are pretty immediately dispatched.
Yes. Oh, yes. So Neil goes out the front, and as we said, he will make it over to Valerie's, but Jeff goes through the garage. This is where he discovers Diane's body hanging from the ceiling, because apparently we definitely studied Friday the 13th, and he gets drilled.
And Halloween. This is very clearly... I wrote a Linda homage to Halloween.
Yes. You are more right.
I love that.
Okay, so Neil runs to Valerie's house, but she doesn't hear him because she's watching Hollywood Boulevard. I think that this is probably one of the better tense moments, like in terms of an actual slasher sequence.
Right. Him
banging on the door as Russ Thorne approaches, and you're waiting to see if Valerie is going to open the door and save him in time. I think the cross-cutting here actually works really well.
Yeah, I think, again, this is... I'm a little surprised that Jones didn't edit this film herself.
Maybe, yeah.
She didn't, but I maybe that was an intentional thing where she's like, well, if I edit this, then they're going to keep making me keep editing movies again.
Right,
but
yeah.
I don't know. I actually would like to see what her actual editing cut would have been for this, but I agree that this is the most fun editing sequence in the film.
Right, yeah. Or a death sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So Neil is brutally stabbed, but it happens just outside of Valerie's frame of vision, so she doesn't suspect anything has happened. And then we see his body get dragged back to the garage, but this is when Russ Thorne realizes, hey, I can count, and I don't need more than one hand because one of these bodies is missing.
I actually did laugh at this a lot. He's like, one, two.
So it is Jeff that is missing. So he has managed to crawl back to Trisha's back door around the pool. And let's take a moment to appreciate Jackie's comedic delivery because she is hungry and that pizza is right there. So just, pop open the lid, have a piece of pizza on top of this dead man's body, and she feels better.
As somebody who is on Ozempic, watching that, I could relate because...
Okay.
because I turn to food in moments of stress, which is why I'm on Ozempic.
I mean, to be fair, too, they were all high, so they haven't even eaten yet.
Yeah, I'm not going to say that I watch horror films and look for logic or realism, but... the number of times that we see people go for long stretches of time, they don't use the bathroom, they don't eat, they don't sleep. You kind of give it a hand wave because it's not very exciting. But I like that in this movie, we say, no, we ordered pizza because we were hungry and yes, hi. And the pizza's just sitting there. So yeah, let me take a moment and just have a quick slice.
I think about characters pooping or not pooping all the time when I'm watching horror movies. Because I'm always like, if that were me...
just be shitting myself and then
I'm a nervous peer. I don't know. But if I'm facing certain death, I'm gonna have a slice.
You're gonna hold it, yeah. Oh, you're gonna pee. Oh, okay.
I'm gonna pee and I'm gonna have a slice. Probably both at the same time.
I do think I'm with you, Dana. I think I would be the Jackie in this situation.
We're going to abscond into the bathroom and eat a piece of pizza and pee.
Guys, I really got to pee for a hot moment. Let me just grab a slice while I'm away.
Cover me.
Okay, so we do hear Jeff whimpering at the door, but Trish doesn't want to open it. So they just listen as this boy gets drilled. And I have a question for the two of you. Do you feel anything for Trish in this movie? Because she does ultimately survive, but she also kind of gets a bunch of people killed.
I mean, in the name of self-preservation, I can't necessarily...
Okay, Annie DeFranco.
I can't necessarily blame her. But I mean, again, outside of Valerie, Trish is the most likable character in the film. But again, my favorite character is still Kim.
Yeah, I don't have a particular issue. I mean, we know she's going to be a final girl, if not the final girl.
Yeah. I just find on repeat watches, the first time I watched it, I thought, Jesus fucking Christ, Trish, you could have saved at least two different people in this movie if you had have either opened the door or if you had have acted differently. And then I realized, A, it's not very fair because it's not like characters have to become final girls or they have to be superheroes or something in the face of danger. But I also kind of like that in this movie, people sometimes react very... selfishly. They don't want to get involved or they maybe don't do the right thing. And it starts to feel a little bit more human.
Their frontal lobes are not developed yet. They're not,
Teenagers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jeff has tragically been killed on the other side of the door.
Would we say tragically?
I mean, he was a bit of a perv, but I don't know that he deserved to go out this way.
Well, and there are worse sins in slasher movie history, I guess.
Right, yeah. So at this point, we get a couple of quick little updates. We see Coach Jana driving, so she is en route. Maybe she will be helpful. We also see that Courtney has snuck over to the party, so Valerie knocks on Trish's door. Apparently, that by this point, we have already begun moving bodies, so she is none the wiser still. And Jackie opens the door to let her in, because Jackie's going to be nice, unlike Trish. But it doesn't end well for Jackie. She just gets her throat slit.
Yeah, immediately. And bye-bye, Jackie. We hardly knew ye.
Truly. We know that you liked pizza, but at least you got the slice before she went out, so.
Probably fell out the hole.
Oh, Dana. Okay, so Kim and Trish are now properly terrified because the door was open, the killer could get in, so they hustle upstairs and they barricade themselves in the bedroom, and they ignore Valerie's calls because, of course, she has come over looking for her sister. And there's this moment where Trish thinks maybe Valerie is in cahoots with this killer. Maybe she's his friend, and that's why she's here.
That's a leap, too. But I guess maybe in a more developed script, the idea is meant to be, Valerie's getting revenge on us for that conversation we had about her in the locker room.
Or she's the new girl, and what do we actually know about her? But yes, I think in both cases. Trace, this is also one of your favorite kind of things, because as they're talking, we can see Russ Thorne climbing through the window behind them.
Well, the best example of that kind of a joke in the movie is when that phone girl is like screaming in the van as Jeff and Neil are walking away from her.
Yes.
But yeah, this feels the most Scooby-Doo, where Kim and Trish are talking, they're huddled, and they're not paying attention to anything that's behind them. And as soon as he creaks the floorboard, they do the slow turn, which is like Shaggy and Scooby right out of that cartoon.
And I love that it's a POV shot from the killer.
Mm-hmm.
What Trish runs into the corner of the room.
Yes.
And
bitch, why are you going to Blair Witch yourself? That's not going to help.
So dumb.
I mean, and they start throwing things at him. They break the mirror, which is probably why Kim dies. 7 years of bad luck. And they do. I think Trish hits him over the head with a baseball bat.
Yes, but only once. And then she drops the bat so that she can remove the barricade. And I'm going to say this is the other instance where Trish could have been helpful, but instead she tries to save herself. And poor Kim.
I mean,
well, Kim was already a goner at that point.
Yeah, she runs out the door once Kim has already been stabbed.
Yeah, but I mean, if she had kept beating him with the baseball bat, then Kim wouldn't have ever been stabbed.
Well, hindsight is 20/20. She already missed that opportunity.
Well, fight training was not a huge priority on this set.
Well,
did you see how every time someone gets hit with something, it's the worst?
Not super convincing, you're saying?
It's like,
yeah, and Kim just kind of falls over here. She gets stabbed and she just kind of falls over, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
She's
gone.
She's dead. Okay, so we briefly follow Russ as he wanders around the house. Trish has hidden herself somewhere, but he is looking for her or other victims.
Well, that's the other thing, though. So, Trish is kind of out of the movie until the very, very end because she hides herself in the jacket cover thing.
In the closet, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The first smart move anyone has made.
Yeah. She's like, I'm not going to be anywhere near this killer.
Truly. I mean, yeah, she's definitely in self-preservation mode. To give her credit, she will come and help at the end. But yeah, for this section of the film, she's very much, nope, I'm not doing this.
Well, after Valerie's done all the work.
Well, yeah. Okay, so outside, Courtney has pulled another prank on Valerie where she has pretended to be laying down on the ground dead. And then, she's like, haha, it's just another joke. And Valerie says, okay, we're done here. We're going to go home. All we got to do is lock up Trish's house and then party's over. This is where we get our second best joke in the film, which is the sight gag as Courtney keeps repeatedly trying to get a snack from the fridge. And Valerie says, no, we're not going to. So Kim's body is falling in and out and in and out.
Now, the coup de grace would have been if she had the pizza box in her lap.
Right. And Courtney just takes a slice.
Or the box just falls on the floor and she just grabs it.
Courtney reacts like a normal person when she actually does find Kim's corpse.
Yes. So both sisters definitely scream. They freak out. They get separated because they kind of go in different directions. So Courtney ends up under the couch and Valerie ends up downstairs in the basement. And this is when... And this is when Russ decides that he is going to hide under a blanket in the living room. So he's very close to where Courtney is hiding. And then Coach Jana comes in.
I had a question about this too. I was kind of like, okay, I get what he's doing. You know, he's going to wait for someone to like check on the body. But I was like,
right.
He's really lucky that Coach Jana walks in like 2 seconds after he does this. Like, he could have been waiting for a really long time.
Well, I mean, he must be exhausted from all that drilling.
Yeah.
Right. It's a lot of physical action.
Like, take a rest, buddy.
Yeah.
But Coach Jana, thankfully, like, is able to take care. It is only actually like, fuck, Joe. This is to your point. Like, it's only because of Trish that she dies.
Exactly. So she gets a fire.
Yeah.
So she gets a fire poker, and we go toe to toe with the drill.
She is not wavering one bit. She is ready. She does not look scared. She is ready to go. She has practiced her whole lesbian life for this.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm.
These are the moments where my people, the lesbians, shine.
Yeah. It's like we did fencing last semester and this is going to really come in handy.
Oh,
so
God.
Yeah. So the fire poker is holding its own against the drill. And then we do see Valerie trying to make this valiant effort to join the fray. So she finds an electric saw, but it has to be plugged in. And she almost like whiplashes herself trying to run up the stairs with it because she runs out of cord.
That is a good joke.
Here's the thing, though. I think it could have been funnier.
If she flew.
Oh, for sure.
Because it kind of plays like, oh, God, she sucks at this. But I think this is intended to be a funny joke.
Yeah, we needed her to like fly back comically. Like she's like in the air, like, whoa!
Yeah, or even a sound effect. But maybe that would have just been too silly.
I don't think you can make it too silly. Like I think, again, if you're going parody, like go silly. Go all the way silly.
Yeah. Okay, so Coach Jana is still whacking the killer a bunch of times. This is when Trish runs in to stab him with a knife. So, yay, Trish, you're positively contributing. And then Coach Jana goes, okay, stop. You don't need to keep going. And this is when she gets it in the abdomen. You're just like, ladies, like I needed a coordinated effort here.
Disemboweled. So she arguably gets the most violent, like, on-screen female death of the movie, which is unfair in my opinion.
Justice for Coach Jana, like you said. Mm-hmm. Now Trish is left completely exposed, so this is the moment where Russ prepares to kill her, telling her that he loves her and that she loves it, i.e. his drill.
Ugh.
Thankfully, Valerie has decided to rejoin the fray, so she rushes up from the basement with a machete. I did love that shot of just, here's all the tools that we have.
She picks up like a
Trish's
regular
house.
Screwdriver. Like she picks up a drill bit.
Oh, no, I thought the drill bit thing was funny because it's like, well, none of them are going to be as big as his drill, so why? I guess maybe that's why she's looking at drill bits, because she's like, well, he has a drill, so maybe I should get one too.
Yeah.
But the machete, this is your Friday the 13th. This is 100% Adrian King decapitating Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah, absolutely. So she runs up, and I do also love this, right? Like this strong, powerful man who, yes, has the face of an everyman, but he is obviously preying particularly on young women for most of this film. He sees a woman coming at him with her own phallic object, and he turns tail and just fucking flees outside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's really satisfying to watch him, hack off this drill bit in slow-mo. It's definitely not her castrating him. That's definitely not her chopping off part of his dick.
But the funniest part about this whole sequence to me is the little ploop it makes when it falls in the pool.
Yes. Yeah. She also hacks off his hand and slashes him in the gut. So we're not fucking around.
The only dialogue we really get, because he's really just screaming at this point, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to kill you. But I mean, outside of the fact that we know he got the I love you from Helter Skelter, like, do we think that adds anything to the film necessarily? Like, to give him a quote unquote motive, I guess?
Well, he gets more character development than any of the girls do.
Yeah, I can't remember if we get more of his backstory in the sequel. He is a bit more of a kind of phantom apparition sort of deal, but I like that we don't know much about him as a killer because hypothetically, this is supposed to be a story about the women. Like, there's so many women who populate this world, and then there's this one shitty dude. So I kind of like that we don't need to give him a backstory because he doesn't matter. So we have mostly taken care of him, courtesy of Val and her machete. So he ends up falling in the pool, but of course, a good serial killer is never put down so easily. So the sisters hug each other. Oh, right, because Courtney is still in this movie. So the sisters are hugging and he jumps out of the pool. He does smack Courtney around a little bit, and we're all making desperate grabs for this machete. And Trish runs back out, so she distracts him long enough for Val to grab said machete, and then he is skewered on it when he jumps on top of her. And this kind of plays out like a weird reverse rape scene. Like, he was going to sexually assault her by jumping on top of her, and then she fatally penetrates him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Yeah. And then the girls all just have kind of a good cry, but the danger has passed. We hear sirens in the distance, and the movie is donezo.
This surprises me every time. Like, this movie has no intro. And this is, again, slasher movies do this. I get it, but I always just want a little coda of like, hey, can we just check in with the surviving characters for like a minute before we cut to credits?
Right. Like, Coach Jana, you survived. Oh my God. Your guts are still on the inside.
But even like Trish and Valerie, like, even like acknowledging each other, because it's like they haven't really interacted in this entire movie except for that locker room scene.
But don't a lot of 80s horror movies end kind of this way, or with like an ending where things are happy and then something terrible happens?
Right. The setup or the stinger for the sequel.
Yeah, you only have two options.
Yeah. And I'm actually not well versed enough in Corman produced filmography to know if like he actually did a lot of sequel teases in his films, because that is like a slasher movie MO, but not surprisingly not in this one.
I kind of don't mind that it just ends. Again, I think if we were spending more time with these characters, if this runtime was just a little bit longer, I think it would feel more natural to have some kind of coda or a reconciliation between these two girls who didn't get off on the best of foot earlier this day. But considering the economy of storytelling in this film, where everything is just kind of go, 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 I think this makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just saying, as a personal taste, I would have liked for like Trish and Val to acknowledge each other in some shape, way, or form.
Yeah. No, I get that.
But, yeah, that is the Slumber Party Massacre. And
who wants pizza?
With olives, yes.
Olives and mushrooms.
Dana, I'm dying to know, and as the guest of honor, what are your final thoughts on this film? And has this conversation done anything to endear you more to it?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so. I think you have succeeded in that. Knowing a little bit more of the backstory and diving into this a little bit more certainly does help me appreciate it. I'm not going to say enjoy, but I can appreciate the film more. And I know that this is a beloved film to a lot of people, and I have a beloved film that a lot of people think is awful. So I respect and honor a lot of people's feelings about this.
Okay. Very political. I like it.
Diplomatic. Yes.
There we go.
No, I'm in the same, this has never been a favorite film of mine. It is something that I enjoy more each time I watch it. And I don't know how I've watched this movie like 5 or 6 times in my life, but I have for some reason. And I don't know. It is a good get drunk with your friends and maybe eat some pizza and watch it movie. And that is the culmination. But am I a bit flabbergasted? Flabbergasted is maybe a strong word, but am I a little surprised that it has such a strong devoted following? Yeah, a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, I will say that I definitely felt the same way as the two of you the first couple of times I saw it, but I do enjoy, maybe not like, but kind of like you said, Dana, I appreciate this film a little bit more each time. And I found that I've had some really interesting conversations with different people about it. I just feel like people have maybe like circled the wagons around certain titles in the 80s where we unabashedly understand that the film isn't the greatest. It's maybe a little bit messy, not always as well put together as we would have liked, maybe not as professional. But, something like this, something like Sleepaway Camp, I think that these films have their ardent defenders, in part because there is just something weird and kind of different about them. So even though I wish that this film was just a little bit better plotted, or that the performances were a little bit more well-rounded and we got to learn more about these female characters, I can understand why people might have gravitated to this as, oh, it's just a little bit unique.
I'm actually really glad you mentioned the Sleepaway Camp films, because if you remember, that's also one where I'm like, I just don't really get the big deal behind Sleepaway Camp. Like, I've never really... I like the sequels to Sleepaway Camp more than I like the original Sleepaway Camp, because they lean harder into the comedy
They're more ridiculous.
What are you, queer or something?
Yeah.
Oh, that too. Yeah. And I think, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if when we release this, a bunch of people say, okay, well, now you have to do the Slumber Party Massacre too, because it is more of that wackadoodle campiness.
Yeah. It's very much more intentional about it, or at least obviously intentional about it.
There we go. Yeah.
But, yeah. So, okay, everyone. Well, before we announce what we're covering next week, Dana, thank you so much for coming on for this. Let everyone know, where can they find you online?
You can find me pretty much anywhere at Dana Piccoli, 2C's 1L. I took a big step back from Twitter, and I'm sort of dipping my foot in again, just because I miss the community that I had there a lot. So you can find me on Blue Sky, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, danapiccoli.com. And I meant to ask the two of you, have you covered Hello, Mary Lou Prom Night 2 yet?
Yes, we have.
Okay, I'll have to look it up, because that's one of my favorites of the genre.
Oh, that one is a fucking gem.
I think that was a pandemic recording for us,
too. Okay, I'll definitely have
to
find it.
Yeah, it's been a while. But we love Hello, Mary Lou. But actually, we've never seen the third or fourth one.
No, we haven't.
It's hard to live up to Hello, Mary Lou.
I know. I know. I mean, there's a lot of these. Like, I also prefer like Night of the Demons 2 to the original Night of the Demons. Like, a lot of these movies, I think like they just really they figure it out in the sequels for a lot of them. But
yeah, the big swing sequels.
Basically, yeah. I mean, again, there's like a karateing nun in Night of the Demons 2.
Yes.
So. But, okay, well, just some quick housekeeping then before we announce that we're covering next week. If you want to get in touch with us, you can reach us on Blue Sky and Instagram at HorrorQueers. Shoot us an email at horrorqueers@gmail.com. Find us on Letterboxd to keep track of all the films we've covered. If you want to chat with other listeners, join our HorrorQueers Discord. The link is in the show notes. If you have a moment, please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And if you want more content, support the show by becoming a patron at patreon.com/HorrorQueers. If you subscribe today, you will get 400 hours of Patreon content, including this month's new episodes on Squid Game Season 3, Dangerous Animals, Megan 2.0, I Know What You Did Last Summer, the 2025 one, and a brand new audio commentary on Species for its 30th anniversary.
Good God, when do you guys sleep?
Never.
We're workaholics. We like it.
Yeah, we have one main feed episode and one Patreon episode every week. Joe?
Yes.
This is the first time watch for me next week. What are we talking about?
Oh, wow. It has been a while since we have dipped a toe into those Argento waters. So this is actually going to be a first-time watch for me as well. But I do love me some baby Jennifer Connelly. So we're going to talk about Phenomena. The one, I think it's a giallo film, but it's about bugs and telepathy. Bugs and, yeah, we got Mr. Loomis, Dr. Loomis in there running around.
And we are going to be covering the Phenomena cut, y'all, not the truncated US version, which is called Creepers, but I will watch that to let you know how it's different.
Okay. Yeah. You said that there were a bunch of cuts, and I was like, oh, I got to get my research hat on, because I didn't even know.
Yeah, my 4K has all 3 cuts, so I was like, okay, well, I'm watching 2 of them. I'm not
Amazing.
watching 3. Okay. But until next week, we can cross out the Slumber Party Massacre.
Indeed. And cross out HorrorQueers.